So I'm going to start with this lump of clay. I'm going to try to make it as round as possible with my hands before I even get it on the wheel. And it's okay if it has a little point on the bottom, but we want it to be fairly round. And I'm going to put it visually as in the center of the wheel as I can without the wheel moving. Just look and see, try to get it in the center of this circle that's right here. And now you can slap it to get it to attach. And then I'm going to start the wheel at a crawl, very, very slow. Is this on?
It should be on, yeah.
Okay. I want it to go. If you get it going too fast right now, it will fly off. So just very slowly. And I'm going to use seal hands like this and slap like I am a seal. And I'm making kind of a volcano shape. And as it goes around, it's rounding itself out. And you can see it's a little lumpy, but it's mostly round and most of the clay is in the middle. And then I'm going to use my finger here to smear around the edge so that there's no more holes like that. So as long as there's no more holes like that, then it's sealed to the wheel. Now I can go really fast and it won't fly off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're actually going to do. Now I'm going to add water though, so it will be slippery. And I'm going to push with my hands, pretending there's an axis like out of the earth, straight up and down, a line straight down to the center of the wheel through the middle of the clay. And I'm going to push from all directions. I'm going to push the clay towards that imaginary line. So you can push from the top this way or from this way, or it really doesn't matter as long as you're pushing towards the center. So I'm putting the pressure here and pushing towards myself. I find it easier to pull towards myself than push, but no way is wrong. You can do this and push that way.
Cool. I think we were pushing from the sides in.
Yeah, I mean push from the sides in.
I kind of like I forgot that there were options.
There's options. And if you watch videos of people throwing, everybody does a little bit differently and it's all fine as long as it works. So I've got my volcano there. And now I want to take my volcano and turn it into a hockey puck. So if the clay is up here and I want it to go down, I have to push from the top. But if you push straight from the top, the clay goes out all over the place. So I'm going to push at an angle, and there's this knuckle here that's really nice and firm and strong. So I'm going to put that knuckle like this and karate chop straight down, again, towards this imaginary line.
Nice.
And I'm going to use this hand just to kind of for stability. So I'm pushing. There we go. Straight down. And this clay is really stiff, so. And most of that work is being done by this part of my hand right here.
Okay. I forgot about the karate chop.
It's a little bit off center. It's mostly just because this is really stiff clay. And you can see if my hands wobble like that, it means that it's not all in there. So you want to keep pushing in and down until the clay doesn't wobble like that, at least not much. So if it's still really wobbly, you'll get a wobble when you try and pull it up. So when you can put your hands on the clay and your hands don't move much, then the clay's centered. You can see there's a little wobble there, but I'm not going to worry about that.
Yeah.
Little wobble's okay. Big wobble is not good. So it is acceptable to have a little wobble. So now I've got my hockey puck. It's still a little bit domed here. I can push it down a little bit more in the center. But when you do that, it rubs away all the moisture. So we need to create a little swimming pool here. Because when you're touching dry clay, it sticks to your hands and pulls. You can push with your fingers, you can push with your thumbs. the biggest rule is to have your both hands working together. One hand's not going to get you anywhere. And see, the clay is dry in the middle. It means I need to add more water. It's okay to have a little swimming pool.
So that's why you created the swimming pool first. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going down towards the center, but not more than halfway. And you can measure the depth by putting one finger in and one finger on the wheel, and you can feel that it's about that deep, which is good. That's about the right depth. And now I want to pull that clay out. And I'm just pulling, I'm putting these fingers in and I'm pulling straight towards myself, towards, if this is a clock, 6 o'clock. One thing that tends to happen to the clay when people do this is it tends to get pointy or create a ridge. You can see it a little bit here. There's a little bit of a ridge. I'm also kind of, with this hand or this hand, pushing down on the top of it. Not enough to like squish it back in, but just to keep it from like creating
Getting
this,
pointy.
Getting pointy or getting out of hand. Got quite the wobble now. There we go, that's better.
I feel like mine is always pointy. I think that's one of the things I forget.
So, yeah, instead of having your hand like this, keep your hand like this, and this part of your hand, your fingers, will keep it contained. So I'm pushing, I'm basically pinching like this, but I'm keeping pressure on the top with the top of my fingers, or bottom of my fingers, whatever this part is, right? Okay. So I'm creating a donut out of this hockey puck, but not a donut that goes all the way through. It's just a donut on the top layer. And also I'm using my thumb to cut under so that I have clay to pull up to a wall. And I'm pinching the clay. When you pinch the clay down low, it forces it to go up.
Okay, I like that hand position a lot.
This hand
Yeah.
is mostly just bracing
yeah,
and helping to push. I'm mostly doing most of the work by pinching my fingers together like
Okay.
this. And the clay is just coming up because it has nowhere else to go.
You're trying to pinch evenly, right?
I'm trying to get my fingers a certain distance apart and then keep that same distance as I come up.
Okay.
One mistake that people make is to pinch closer and closer and closer together, and what you end up doing is pinching the top of the pot off. That happens a lot at the beginning. So again, I'm going to push under here to get an undercut so that I have some clay to pull up. And you'll notice I'm pulling in towards the center instead of out. I want to create a volcano, and then I can stand it up to a cylinder if I want the walls straight up and down. And with this hand, I'm keeping my thumb on the top here to make sure that this rim doesn't get too thin and pointy. Which I noticed all of the other cylinders were pretty good. They were not.
Well,
Pointy at the top.
wasn't because of me. Mine always pointy. Okay, yeah, this is going to be the thing I have to work on, I think.
And this is definitely the wonkiest cylinder I've thrown in a while because the clay is stiff and uneven, but it's still pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, I mean, you can see my hands wobbling. I can feel the uneven wall thicknesses, but it's still going to be a cylinder, and it's still going to be usable. It does not have to be perfect.
Well, not for what we're going to be using it for anyway. I think that's pretty.
Yeah. So you can keep going until you feel like you can't anymore. And it is also a good exercise because if you're not worried about product, it's a good exercise to keep pulling past where you think you need to stop and find out where the real breaking point is, because it's usually much further past where you think it is. That was an exercise in one of my classes, is pull as far as you think you can and then do it 3 more times. Find out where it collapses.
That's interesting. So typically wall thickness should be what?
It should be consistent.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be any particular thickness. I mean, big chunky wall thickness will make a heavy thing, but if you want it to be a spoon holder, you want it to be heavy and heavy on the bottom so that it doesn't tip over when you put a spoon in it. So it depends on what your use is. But if you want something that's like a coffee cup or a teacup, you don't want it to be like heavy. So wall thickness really depends on what the use is and what the overall size is going to be. Obviously, you can't get really thin walls on a gigantic piece.
Right.
So it's all proportional. But the biggest thing is that you want the wall's thicknesses to be consistent. So you don't want huge chunky bottom and it'll just dry unevenly and then it cracks.
Yep.
So I've got a lot of clay still on the bottom I can pull up. And every time you pull up, it just makes it a little bit taller.
So it looks like every time you pull up, you kind of flatten out the rim too a little bit. Yeah.
Press the rim again, just to keep it.
Yeah.
It's still a little wobbly, but it keeps it from getting pointy, because you can pinch too much and get your rim pointy like that.
Mine are always pointy. Yeah. Right. See, mine are always pointy.
It's okay. The easy way to fix it, I use my pinky finger.
Okay.
And you just push. I'm not even pushing. I'm just holding my pinky still. And it's leveling and thickening that and strengthening it at the same time. So you can do this as many times as you think you have clay for.
Now the wheel speed you're working on right now is fairly quick. It's
too fast.
It's too fast. Okay.
I should slow it down. So you start out when you're centering, you can go really fast.
Yep.
And then you should slow it down a little bit to open and slow it down a little bit more to pull up. And when you get to this stage, it should be going like not at a crawl, but like that.
Okay.
But one thing about this is if you mark where the side is, when you're pulling up, your fingers need to stay wherever they are for at least one full rotation.
I remember you saying that last time.
So if it's going around this slow, then I have to move in slow motion to be pulling up.
Okay.
But if you can still see that line, it's coming around like there. So I need to be moving at a pace where if I'm pushing the clay in, I can't just go up really fast, because that will do it. I'll show you what it does. It creates a spiral and a wobble. So you have to go, if you're going slow with your wheel, you also have to go slow with your hands. So now I've messed it up. I can probably fix it. There we go. Okay, that's probably the appropriate speed for where I'm supposed to be right now. And I'm pushing with my knuckle here, that knuckle, and a finger on the inside, so I'm compressing the clay between my finger and my knuckle like that, and then raising them up together. And at this stage, you don't really need to add any more water. So there's still clay down here that I could probably raise up. See all that clay? So I could probably do one more pull. And you don't have to pull all the way to the top. I could just pull that halfway up, just to get it a little bit more.
So it's tomorrow at the Data Chat or with Brian and Nancy?
Yeah,
What time is it?
8:30.
Okay. So you saw some pictures in that slideshow? I haven't taken any. So, I mean, I'll do some, but it won't be a lot.
That's fine.
Be a lot of pictures. Did he talk to you about Ringo though?
Yes. So Carly Reichs